Hi guys, in this video I'll be showing you how to cut this corset top with ready-made bra cuffs. I sew mine as a blouse for my client. This is how it looks like before fixing, joining the back and then fixing the sleeve. If you are new to this channel, please kindly subscribe and you can turn on notification bell so that whenever I upload a new video you can easily see it. Now let's get started. These are the measurements I'll be using. I'll put it on the screen. Then these are the things that I used in drafting. You can see the ready-made cup. I had to sew it a bit in so that it will push up a bit. Then a tape, my ruler, and then my paper. Now I'm putting the armhole divided by 2. The armhole divided by 2 for this person is 9.5, but I reduce it a bit because I don't want the armhole area to be showing since there is no sleeve there. So I used 8.5. So I reduced the armhole by 1. Okay, armhole divided by 2, I reduced it by 1. Instead of using 9.5, I used 8.5. Then the next is to put the shoulder measurement. The shoulder measurement is 8.5 for this person, which is the shoulder divided by 2 plus 0.5 seam allowance. Okay, now the shoulder to bust is 11.5 and I use 10.5 to raise the bust point a bit. Then the shoulder to under bust is 14.5. I made it 13.5 also to raise the under bust a bit. So I just raised them up by 1 inch. I raised the chest line. But if you are making it as an off shoulder that you be fixing sleeve, you don't have to raise your chest line, which is the arm divided by 2. You don't have to raise it, or you can just use the exact point. But you can raise the bust point and the under bust up by 1 inch so that the breast part comes up well. Okay, so I've marked the points. That's the shoulder to bust, shoulder to under bust, shoulder to waist, and the blouse length. Like I said, this is a blouse. I made it as a blouse for the person. Now I'm drawing out the lines. That's the horizontal line of those points that I've marked. Now on the armhole, I came down by 1.5 for the shoulder slant, and then I took 3 inches natural neckline and then I formed that slant. Then I measure what is left on the armhole line and went in by 0.75 to form my armhole curve. Okay, so I'm putting quarter of the the bust, the waist, and the blouse length measurement. So I put quarter of the bust, the quarter of the waist, I put it, and then the quarter of the blouse length, and then I'm connecting the point. So now I'm trying to draw the armhole. And I've got okay, so I've drawn the armhole. Then the next thing I want to do is to place the bra cup on it. But on the bust point, I came in by 1 inch, and from that point I make sure that the cup rests on the bust, that 1 inch that I've marked from the edge. It rests on the under bust and then the chest line. So I'm drawing out the shape of the cup. So you are going to make sure that the cup is not flat. Already I've taken in 0.3, that's less than half inch on both sides, or like I took it in like a dart. Okay, so that means I've taken in almost 1 inch on the cup to make it to push up a bit. Then when you are placing it on the paper, you push it up a bit so that it's formed, it comes up, it's not flat. So after I've drawn it out, I'm marking the nipple to nipple of the person, which is 4.25. That's nipple to nipple divided by 2, and then I form a straight line because now I want to draw out the waist that. Now, from that nipple to nipple line, I measure the remaining space on the waist and divide it by 2 to get the midpoint, because I want to put another dart on that line. So from that nipple to nipple line, what I had, I marked it to the up and form a straight line. So I just divided what after the nipple to nipple line, what I had, I divided to 2. So now I'm taking 0.75 on both sides of the nipple to nipple line, and I came down by 1 inch from the bust point just to form the dart. Although the dart that I'll be drawing from the chest, from the bust point, I won't be needing it. I only need from the point where the cup stops. So after coming up by 1 inch from the full length, I came down by 1 inch from the bust point, and then I marked 0.75 on both sides of the nipple to nipple line on the waist. So I've drawn out the dart. Now I'm just tracing it out with a marker so that you can see. Now I'm tracing out from where the cup stops, okay, because I don't need the other parts. Okay, so now on the full length, I took ½ inch on both sides of the nipple to nipple line. Okay, so now on the other line that I marked, I took 0.25 on both sides, and then I connected it to the bust point and the full length. So I also draw it out from where I need so that I can see it. Okay, so this is how it looks. Now on this center point, because we want it to be flat, I'm going to be taking 0.5 from the edge. So I took it on the bust, on the waist and the full length, and then I formed a straight line. Now I'm going to just slant it to the bust point. Now it means that I'm taking another dart from that point. Okay, so I have my 1, 2 and 3. You have to label it. So now I'm writing the darts that I'll be taking, the dart I took, what I'll be replacing. Now on the bust, on the waist, I've taken like 2.5. Okay, 1.5 for the waist and the other side, and then the one that I took from the center. So plus sewing allowance, you're going to mark it. Then what you took on the full length, you're going to put it. We didn't take anything from the bust, so I just added only 2 inches sewing allowance. Now I'm not adding it here on paper, I'll be adding it on fabric. Now on the armhole, from the armhole line, the way it's curved, I'm marking 2.5 away from it. The way the armhole is curved, you can see it. I just marked 2.5 inches away from it, and then I drew out the line up to the bust point. You can see by the side, so that when I'm sewing the seam allowance, I'm going to insert it inside. I'm also going to add seam allowance to it while cutting it, so that it can fit into the side while I'm shaping the clothes. Now we're going to be drawing the back. I'm done with the front. So I'll just draw a straight line to just have a starting point for the back. And I'm taking the shoulder to armhole divided by 2, which is the chest line, then shoulder to bust, shoulder to waist, and shoulder to full length. That's the blouse length. Now on the waist, I went in by 0.5 to tighten the back. It's all to be easy padded, but this does not have a dart, but it still helps to give the fitting. Now on the chest line, I mark the shoulder divided by 2 plus seam allowance. Then I drew my natural neckline, came down by 1 inch on the armhole line to form my shoulder slant. No, for the front we came down by 1.5, but for the back is 1 inch. Okay, So from that point where I mark the 0.75, I'll be slanting it across the chest line and then to the full blouse length. Now the bust divide by 4, and then the blouse length divide by 4 and waist divide by 4. I'm connecting it together. That's, I started the measurement from where that slant is. Okay, so now the waist divide by 2. I'm going to get the midpoint because I want to be putting the dart, and then from that straight line I mark what I have, and then I marked it on the chest line on the full line because I want the line to be straight. If I had followed the slanted point, then my line won't have been straight. Okay, so from that straight line that I formed, I'm marking 0.75 on both sides on the waist, 0.5 on both sides on the chest line, and 0.5 on both sides on the full length, and then I'm connecting the dots. Okay, so that is to tighten the chest points and then the full length and the waist together. So now you're going to determine the depth of your back neck. So I just came down a bit from the chest line, and then I'm drawing the armhole for the back so that I can also form the sleeve part for the back. So from the midpoint of the armhole I came up by 0.25, and then I drew out the armhole. So like I did for the front, from that the way the curve is, I'm marking 0.25, and that's 2.5 to the end. But for this back, you can actually make it to be straight and not curve. I later changed mine to be straight because I really don't want it to be curved at the back. I just wanted to form another design at the back, so I made it straight. But for the purpose of this video, you can also curve it like that, so have that design at the back. And so I went up by 1 inch in order to form a curve and slanted it back to that leg for the sides. Okay, so this is going to be happening. So I marked the point where the modesty panel, okay, where the modesty panel will be. I'm going to be cutting it. I just marked 2 inches from the up to down, so I'll cut it out. It is optional for you to put a modesty panel. You can just leave it to be open like that, but this person wanted to have a modesty panel on it, so you can just leave that point to be open like that. So now I'm labeling it the center front, the side front 1 and side front 2, then the center back, and the side back. Okay, so that is it. You can see that this is very easy. It's not hard at all. Please, if you have found this video helpful, kindly give it a thumbs up. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe. There are so many of our other videos. This is a new channel and we are growing by the grace of God, and there are lots of ideas that I'll be dropping, lots of tutorials that I'll be dropping on the channel. Please turn on the notification bell so that whenever I upload a new video, you will get notified. Okay, I upload videos almost every day, but at least 3 times a week. That is sure. So there are lots to learn. Okay, so I'm just cutting it out now. I'm cutting out that zipper, that part. Okay, and then the armhole area. Okay, so what I am cutting out here, I'm going to be replacing it. Can say it's going off. No, when I finish cutting, I'm going to be replacing the parts that are on the basic body, that is not part of that sleeve area. So now if that modesty panel is optional, in fact we're not going to be using it exactly. I've just cut something bigger so that it can enter into the person's other side and the body will not be showing. Okay, but I just kept it as a draft for me to follow, to know how many inches I've taken out. So you are going to cut out the dart of the back like this, and also remember to add back the dart the way I do when you want to reduce the waist, the snatching of the waist. You just reduce the person's measurement by 2 inches, so, or 3 inches. So if the person's waist is, let's say, 30, you can just make it to be 27 and then you divide that 27 by 4. That way you are reducing the person's waist, but every dart that I take out and replace it back. All right, so I'm cutting out the dart part of the front also. Now that part also where I put the dart in the front, I'm cutting out so that the front part laps very well. Okay, so these are the pieces for the front, and that's where you'll be fixing the cuff and then the sleeve part. Okay, now to replace what we cut out for the sleeve, so I'm just drawing it out, like tracing it out, and then I gum that point to fix the upper part on it. You can see like this. Okay, so after that I'm just going to trace it out so that I have the full pattern for that sleeve. So I just trace it out like that. So now I have the full pattern for the sleeve for the front. I'm going to do the same thing for the back also. You can see it now is complete. And when I'm adding sewing allowance, I'm going to be adding sewing allowance to that point too. So I'm adding 2 inches to it. So now I did the same thing for the back. Like I said, this back one is optional. All right, I prefer if it is straight. Okay, I prefer if that back one is straight, and if you want to make it straight, you can just draw it out straight on your pattern paper instead of making it curve. Okay, so here you have it, guys. Thanks for watching this video to the end. Like I said, please, if you are new to this channel, kindly subscribe to it. It will go a long way to encourage me in making those videos and many more that I'll still be dropping on the channel. And if you have found this video helpful, kindly give it a thumbs up. Recommend this channel to your friends and colleagues. Thank you so much. This is the outcome of it. I'm going to be uploading the video of the sewing process, but it's basically on the front part. Yes, the joining part of the front. Okay, so this is how the front part looks like after the joining. I couldn't really finish the back, the video of the back, though I still try to do part of it. I'll be uploading it very soon. Okay, so this is how it looks, guys. It's very very easy to make and it's awesome, it's beautiful. You can try out yours too. Thank